Alright, so Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Radi Allah ta'ala anhu wa sadid tabi'ina wa ulama amilina wa a'ima arba'i mujtahideen wa muqalidihim ila yawm ad-din mabad. So we are going to continue from where we left off in our Umdat'l Bayan wa wajibat ala ayan. Um, there's a couple notes, a couple points I want to make here. One of them is dalil. Okay, there is 3 types of dalil, but we only gonna focus on 2. All right, it's 3 types, but we're only focusing on 2. So last week's class, we went over the muqaddimah, which means introduction in Arabic, and we talked about how the book is arranged and everything. So what I want to talk about is dalil right now. You have 2 types of dalil. You have what is known as your textual dalil and your intellectual dalil. The textual dalil is naql, is dalil al-naql, right? Dalil al-naql is your textual dalil, meaning that its evidences come from the Quran, the Sunnah, like some sort of written hadith or a hadith that's practiced. And you have also the consensus, right? The ijma'. The ijma'. You out? All right, inshallah. I'll hit you up later. All right, sound like so the ijma'. Then you have what is known as dalil al-aqli, which is known as the rational proofs. All right? Rational proofs. And these proofs are acceptable as proofs as long as it does not contradict the naql proof. All right? It's textual, it's intellectual or rational proof, but as long as it doesn't contradict the textual proof. And the section on Tawheed that we're going to go over today, you're going to see that this entire book is based on dalil aqliyah, right? Rational proof. There is a supplemental book that the Sheikh wrote that provides dalil aqliyah, naqli, right? Which is textual proof. So what's the Arabic term for rational or intellectual proof is what? Anybody can answer. Huh? Can't hear y'all, huh? All right, once again. Huh? Go ahead. Dalil of what? There's 2 types of dalil we're talking about.
You said what is the name for intellectual?
Right. The rational proof. Rational proof. Y'all gotta pay attention. Rational proof is dalil naqliyah, naql, right? That's the Arabic term for it. It's acceptable as a proof as long as it does not contradict. I'm sorry, the intellectual. The textual proof. Is naql, right? That's textual proof. That its sources come from either the Quran, the Sunnah, or the ijma'. All right. Dalil al-aqliyah is the rational proof or the intellectual proof. All right. What's dalil al-naql?
Textual.
Textual proof, right? Y'all got that in the back?
No, you said naql.
Naql, right?
Textual.
Textual.
And
I'm gonna type it in on
You said it is? Dalilu Aqliya?
right. Hold up.
And then it's intellectual.
Is everybody on? Everybody in here on what you call it? All right. So I'm gonna type this real quick. If you're on Zoom, knuckle is textual proof. All right. Aql proof. Oops. Is rational proof. Now you shouldn't be playing with anything in your hands while you're in class. And that's how Imam Bukhari and them got grinded up in class, right? But guess what? They proved everybody wrong because they was able to tell them everything that was going on in class. So can y'all tell me the difference between Aql and Naqli proof? Say that one more time, a little louder for the people in the back.
Knuckle is textual and aqua is rational.
What you say? No. I need to hear you, brother. Knuckle is what?
Knuckle is rational. Right?
See, when you if you're gonna be playing around with little papers in your hands and stuff, you at least gotta be like Imam Shafi. All right, you gotta at least be able to spit back what we're going over. Knuckle proof is textual. All right, meaning it comes from the Quran or the Sunnah. Right. The Aqli proof is intellectual proof, which is still based off of the textual proof. It can't contradict the textual proof. All right, y'all understand that? Sure? Alright. Now you know I'm gonna test y'all on that. That's gonna be on your quiz. Alright, so there's a lot when you dealing with this class, there's a lot of terminology you have to know. Alright? You have to know the terminology, and the terminology helps you understand what's going on. See, we're past that level of what's your dalil, right? What's your dalil is only created in order to argue. Okay? That's most people don't know how to argue. 90% of our problem is we don't know how to communicate with each other, even as adults, even as children. Right? The little spoiled brat, he doesn't want you to play with his ball. So instead of him saying, I don't want you to play with it, what does he do? He takes it and run off and screams when you try to get the ball, right? But if he didn't want you to play with the ball, he would just tell you what? I don't want you to play with the ball. Well, our problem is we don't know how to communicate, right? And the more technology advances, the further away we get away from communication. We're almost back in the ages of hieroglyphics, where you're drawing pictures. And that's really what you're doing with emojis. You're almost back in the age of hieroglyphics, right? So you take a people that doesn't have literacy and you take them in any Pictionary, pictures in order to communicate, we're going backwards, all right? So you have to understand, in order to excel in the Sharia, in the Deen, you have to be able to articulate your knowledge. You have to articulate your knowledge. If you can't articulate your knowledge, then you're only going to lead to confusion. Okay? And that's what's happening with a lot of people. You have to learn to be more articulate. Right? They give you public speaking classes. Public speaking classes, all they do is just you're articulating. You're learning how to articulate, your words. You have to be able to put your words together. You have wordplay. All right? Is that clear for everybody? So one more time for the road. Knuckle proof is what? Textual proof. Good. Sisters, what's knuckle proof? Good. And what's aql proof? Rational proof, right? So if you ever want a quick way to remember this, Remember the term knucklehead? Right? Remember that term? You ain't never a little knucklehead? Will become a knucklehead. A knucklehead instead of an ocklehead.
That's so cheesy.
I know it's corny, but I bet you it help you remember it though. All right, so anyway, so we're gonna move on. All right, so we had to get that clear because what you're gonna hear is another thing you're gonna hear is the word wajib or yajib. Okay, yajib is the verb form, wajib is the actual word, and wajib is spelled Wajib. Okay? And wajib, when something is wajib, it is mandatory. There's no way around it. You can't get out of it. If you don't do it, it's considered a sin. Okay? If you do it, you'll receive reward. If you deny it, it's kufr. Y'all understand that? All right, good. So, we'll proceed on. Sound like a raccoon back there, don't it? y'all good? I'm just making sure. No, I'm just saying. It sounded like a raccoon was crawling around back there.
I'm like, yo, something crawling in there. I thought it was something back there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You know what I mean? All right, so al-qasm al-awwal ilm al-tawheed. Okay? The first section is the science of tawheed. All right? Now, because you guys ain't got no pen and paper, y'all ain't taking no notes, I'm assuming y'all memorizing everything. I'm put y'all in the Imam Bukhari club, all right? It's going to be the Imam Bukhari club. The one who can memorize everything that's going on, he's amongst the elite. All right? The next class, like he going to have to sit next to the sheikh. Because he's on the Imam Bukhari team. All right, so, Qism al-Awwal. Ilm al-Tawheed. The first section is the science of Tawheed. Okay? وَيُجِيبُ عَلَى مُكَلِّفٍ أَنْ يَتَعَلَّمَ مِنْهُ مِقْدَارُ مَا يُصَحِّهُ بِإِعْتِقَادِهُ. Oh, excuse me. So, the first section is the science of Tawheed. And it is mandatory, it is obligatory upon every individual that is mukallif. Who knows what is mukallif? What is the meaning of mukallif? Yes, sir.
You have accountable for your sins.
Okay. And usually somehow, how is it usually known as what? When you reach the stage of puberty, right? Once you become pubescent. Now, I know that our Catholic society tells you that you're not considered an adult until you become 21, right? Well, Islam doesn't teach that. What Islam teaches you, alaikum salam to the Catholic, what Islam teaches is that you become an adult once you reach the age, there's two terms they use for this, all right? I want y'all to get familiar with these two terms. Because you're going to study other books. If you go on to study, like, to become advance your level of fiqh, they use the word mukallif, okay? Mukallif is M-U-K-A-L-L-I-F, mukallaf, right? It's right here on the, for y'all in the group. All right, I'm going to highlight the transliteration for you. Y'all see that? If you're looking at it on Zoom. Mukallaf, that's the word mukallaf, okay? Mukallaf is when a person reaches the age of responsibility, all right? Like I said, Western society tells you that when you get 21, that is not correct. What is correct is when you reach the signs of taklif, of being mukallaf, all right? The other word I want you to be familiar with it's called balagh. Balagh, right? That's not in here, but the word is spelled. Let me see. I might be able to write it down.
With a line?
Yeah, the word balagh, right? This is the word balagh. Hold on.
Bad.
Balagha. Right.
God.
Right. It reaches the word balagh or Balagha. Right. It reached the stage of balagh. All right. That's also understood as pubescent or mukallaf. Okay. Now, being mukallaf has signs. All right. Being mukallaf has signs. Okay. The first sign for a woman or female that became mukallaf is what? A mens. That's her first sign. The second sign is
Period.
pregnancy. Okay? She's able to have children. If that's absent, then she has to reach the age of 18 lunar years. All right? 18 years old. If all the other signs are absent, she has to reach that age of 18. All right? So what is the signs of being mukallaf for women?
Men's and pregnancy.
Mens and pregnancy. And if she don't have neither one of the two, then what?
She has to wait till 18 years.
18 years old. Got that, son? Huh? Sure? All right, my man. All right? So, those are the two signs that a woman has reached the stages of mukallaf. And I only say this because people like ignorantly argue, okay, about when is actually the proper age for a young female to get married. Okay? A young girl can never get married at 6 years old unless she has two things that's present. One or two things. One or two things. If she has a mens or she's able to have children. If she's missing those two signs, she's not eligible for marriage. Y'all got me clear on that? So I hope that nobody in our community be arguing about what's the right age. Those are the two things. Because all of the other arguments with regards to age for people in marriage is all based off of the 18-year-old theory, or when I was 14 and I first fornicated, that's out the window. We're Muslim. All right? And so when you're Muslim, you have to live by Islam. Your rules are different, right? If there's a white person, a white woman, say one of you guys were interested in a white woman, there are some white women that would never mess with you, never deal with you because you're black, right? And she's taught this, and she believes in this. So as a Muslim, we have certain beliefs and practices as well. Like, like for instance, Muslim men can't marry Kafir women. The only type of Kafir women a Muslim man can ever consider marrying is a Christian or a Jew woman. If she is an atheist, I don't care if she says she's Buddhist or, Zen. Come on, man, get your feet out my circle, man. Remember we talked about that already. Bad, brother. So, unless she's engaged in that kind of, if she's engaged in that kind of stuff, we can't marry her. Muslim women can't marry no other man other than Muslim men. And so why this is important, because I think this needs to be known. All right? It's not based off of the 21-year-old rule or any of those things. It's based off of those signs that are permitted in the Sharia. The Prophet ﷺ married Aisha when she was very young, before she, I believe, right at the time of her, no, he married her before then, and they didn't consummate till afterwards, right? We can't marry nobody that young. The only exception to that rule is just that the fact is if that person has already reached the age of responsibility, all right? We're not going to restrict it to a number. We're not going to argue from a numbers perspective. If they've reached the age of taklif. What's the youngest age you can marry somebody in the United States? Under Kafir law?
10.
Nope, not 10. Huh?
13.
It's either 13 or 14.
13 is, I'm not sure.
I think
about
13 is
any other state,
Alabama,
but I know
right?
In Pennsylvania, the age of consent is 13.
13. 13, 14, 16.
Unless they can become emancipated, but 13 is the age of
Right.
consent in the common law state.
But you see, but you see where there's no signs, there's nothing talking about signs of responsibility, being taklif for anything of that nature, right? None of that stuff is available. They set a number, right? Islam doesn't go by. Islam goes by those signs of maturity, right? A person not, another thing of being mukallaf is that you have to have a sound mind. All right, you can't be a person of irrational thinking, meaning that you have some kind of mental disorder. I ain't talking about somebody being bipolar. That doesn't count. I'm talking about somebody that's like affected maybe with they are a real bad case of autism, real bad case. I'm not talking about high functioning person autistic. I'm talking about real bad case of autism. What's some of them other mind altering?
So could this person ever get married?
Now the person wouldn't be. If that person with that mental condition, if he murders somebody, the parents are responsible. Whoever's his caretaker are responsible for his errors. It's like with our children, right? As long as our children are not pubescent, their sins is our sins because we're responsible for educating them and teaching them right from wrong. Once they reach puberty, right? And this is the thing, like this is where a lot of parents we go wrong at. When they reach puberty, like for instance, how many little kids really pray Fajr? Most parents let them pray when they wake up. You know what I'm saying? The parents will get up and pray, but the little kids, they don't pray until they wake up. Oh, it's too early for them to get up. Let little dudes sleep. You see what I'm saying? When you teach them early, you ingrain this in them early. What happens? Then Fajr becomes part of their everyday routine. You see what I'm saying? So that's what happens. Even like with the sometimes we have to figure out a way to do it where we get our mukallaf boys to Juma. You know what I mean? If we don't have our mukallaf boys going to Juma, even though they have school, I know they got like rules and things like that. If you can't get some sort of exemption, at least like once a month, set up a thing once every other month or something like that. And they have to know that Juma is mandatory and there's nothing that can supersede Juma. Even though it seems like an oxymoron because you like only sending the Juma once a month or whatever the case is. But whatever the case is, you have to begin to drill that in the youth. If you don't drill it in the youth, when they become adults, they're going to be worse than us. You see? So becoming mukallaf for a female is 2 signs. What did I say the 2 signs was? Immense and pregnancy, right? And if those 2 things are absent, what's the third thing? 18 lunar years. All right.
Like 20.
No, it'd be less than that. It'd really be like 17. Yeah. You're a little older. You're older according to the lunar calendar. Yeah. All right, so let me clear this board for y'all. All right, now, for a male to be mukallaf, right? And also, don't forget, the person has to be of sound mind, right? Don't forget that. That's very important. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the hadith that the pen is lifted for a few people, right? When a person is asleep and salat comes in and goes. I'm not talking about the person falls asleep at the time of the salat. Somebody slept through the salat, okay? The pen is lifted for him. When he wakes up, he prays, all right? The person who is have some kind of insanity in his mind, when he comes back to sanity, he prays, all right? Insanity is also temporary as well. But like I said, there are some mental conditions where they are long-lasting. They can last a person's life. The pen is lifted for that person. All right, you understand? So who becomes responsible for them is the person who's their caretaker. You're the person who's their caretaker. You're not supposed to let, little Abdullah go out and, and bite people's arms. All right? You're supposed to stop him. It's not funny. Right? Now people be like, oh, that's just cute. No, you're not supposed to let them do that. You're supposed to stop them. Right? What if he killed the person? Right? The Islamic way of punishment for dealing with somebody that commits murder is only two ways. One way is for that person to be murdered back, or the second way is he pays blood money. He pays a certain amount of money until it's paid off. But if the person is not mukallaf, meaning he doesn't have a sound mind, right, and he kills someone, then the parents or whoever his caretaker is responsible for him. They're the ones that have to pay the blood money now. You see? So you have to understand this is where you start learning law, right? So even if you lived in this society and you became a lawyer, you still have to learn Islam. You know?
You could just forgive this person also, right? And leave it off. Or they must.
I mean, you can take that as a path, but murder's a hard thing to deal with. A lot of people are like, yo, I want blood, or you don't pay me for my loss, right? When police officers kill black kids, they usually just give somebody money and let them go away.
Right.
They don't get the same option of having killing the cop. You see what I'm saying? That's not even in the script. Islam, it doesn't matter who it is. It's one of the two choices, and it's up to the family. They go to the qadi. That's the rule. That's going to be the rule that's litigated. So, but anyway, all right. So mukallaf for the males. What are some of the signs for being pubescent or legally responsible for males? Huh? Say that one more time.
A sound mind.
A sound mind, of course. After that. Huh? Ejaculation. If he has any type of discharge of semen, it doesn't matter whether he had a wet dream or whether he touched himself until that thing, exploded. The bottom line is semen ejaculated, right? In the absence of ejaculation of semen, what else? Facial hair. In the absence of facial hair, pubic hair, right? Actually, pubic hair usually before facial hair.
For facial hair,
Yeah. So in the absence of those things, if those things aren't present, then what? 18 lunar years old. All right. So y'all understand now what mukallaf is. So when a person is mukallaf, okay, like I said, if the person is not mukallaf, who's responsible for that person's actions? The parents, right? Okay, good. Nah, he ain't gonna have no, he ain't gonna have no children. Has to be able to color. Because one of the things for the female, she has to be able to get pregnant, and the man has to ejaculate semen. So you ain't getting no parents that ain't gonna color unless they crazy. I mean, not crazy, but unless they got some kind of mental illness. And I told you, bipolar don't count, right? Schizophrenia don't count either, unless you're in a real manic schizophrenic state where you think like you're the Joker or Batman or something. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, all right, and a lot of this you have to memorize it. You have to know this. You know why? Well, I'll tell you about them feet. You know why you have to memorize this? A lot of our rulings is perpetuated on this. All right, if a person goes temporarily insane and he comes back out of his state of insanity, is his wudu valid or invalid?
Invalid.
You said it's valid.
Invalid.
It'll be invalid. But we're gonna go over this when we're dealing with wudu. Person become temporarily insane. When he comes back from his insanity, he has to make wudu, right? He lost consciousness. He just became insane. Because remember, actions are only obligatory. The pen is lifted for you. Actions are only obligatory when you have a sound mind and you reach that age of taklif, of being mukallaf. When the pen is lifted, it's all lifted, right? Now I know some people are weak-minded. They be like, "Oh man, they get to chill. They ain't chilling." When you lose your mind, that joint ain't cool. You ever see one of them little kids? Don't nobody want to do that all day. You see what I'm saying? Somebody keep drooling on themselves. They stuck. They can't move or anything like that. You don't want to be like that, right? So don't even think like that. That's the lazy man's way of thinking. A person that really has a mental problem, he really has a mental problem, and the pen is lifted, right? And the parents shouldn't be ashamed for that child. Because sometimes parents be like, "Oh man, my son, hey man, it is what it is." Right? It is what it is. And that's what the Sharia, Sharia, it is what it is, right? It's up on us, other people that surround them, to show good adab, to show good behavior, good akhlaq. We don't make fun of that person or ridicule that person because they can't pray, right? Like we have a brother that come here. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The brother. Sometimes he used to come here and he'll bust out just saying something in the middle of the khutbah and stuff. Lord, and he's not all there. The brother's not all there. But one thing he is though, he'd tell you, I'm Muslim, Aki. I'm like, alhamdulillah. Right? He come here period. I haven't seen him in a while. Last time I seen him not too long ago. I gave him some money for some food. But anyway, all right, so we're done talking about the mukallaf, right? So you know the signs of taklif, both male and female. And we know that there won't be anyone eligible for marriage until they reach that level of taklif, right? Okay? So now, yajibu ala kulli mukallafin. So it's obligatory upon every mukallaf person. So if you're a mukallaf, then it is your individual obligation to learn the proper aqidah. Proper belief, right? Somebody just tried to call me. That's what happened. So it's your obligation to learn the proper belief. There's no such thing as ignorance is an excuse. Okay? Ignorance is not an excuse. You have to learn your belief and learn your belief properly, right? And it's just like what the Sheikh he says, يَتَعَلَّمُ مِنْهُ مِقْدَارُهُ مَا يَصَحِّهُ بِهِ اِعْتِقَادٍ. You have to learn enough of it to make your belief sound. Okay? What you know where you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of times, a lot of our children's problem, when we mix them with the kuffar, they don't really know what they believe. They just believe what, basically like what's in the house. And when you get them outside the house, they're weak. And they regress in what they believe. So they start talking about things like celebrating Halloween and things like that, in those things. There's some things that's innocent, right? And those things that are innocent is considered part of you. Like Fortnite, right? I don't know, a little kid that only, jumping around Fortniting, right? That's innocent, right? But when you run around talking about Christmas and Hanukkah and everything, there's no innocence to that. That's guilt, right? And if you are responsible, you become mukallaf, you're responsible for learning Tawheed. So if you're not mukallaf, who's responsible to making sure you learn Tawheed? Your parents, whoever your caretaker is. Whoever your caretaker is, they are responsible to make sure that you know the proper aqidah. We got a heavy charge when it comes to family, right? Nobody's safe. Everybody is up for punishment. All right, so we'll talk about 3 attributes that's mentioned, and when we get to the end of the section, I'm going to explain to you all what is the difference between a sifa, an attribute, and an asma, a name. And really, you younger guys, y'all ain't even worried about that stuff. Y'all like, look, what did you say about Allah? Okay. Adults, we be like, well, what about the 99 names? And what about this? And what about that? We ain't a bunch of about what ifs. I'm teaching you guys so that you later on be able to explain it to others. And the adults, that just hopefully it corrects any misconceptions or anything that we have about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright? So the good thing is with you guys, all y'all, is y'all ain't worship anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Y'all, one Sahaba, well, a few Sahabas, it ain't just one, but Ali ibn Abi Talib, Karamallahu wajh, the cousin and the son-in-law of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was one of the earliest people to become Muslim. Matter of fact, he was one of the earliest Muslims, I should say. I think there's debate about whether he became Muslim or whether he accepted Islam at 6 or if he accepted it after 6, right? And if you read about Ali, you get in the habit of reading about the companions. You go to school, if you go to public school, okay, fine. We ain't even gonna argue that. But at least on your spare time, make some time to read about the life of the Prophet ﷺ and a lot of the companions, right? Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was that boy. That's all I can say. I say it like that, right? He was that dude. You know what they said about Ali? When Ali fought somebody, they never lived to tell about it, right? That was Ali. You know what else they said about Ali? Ali was just a beast. You know what the Prophet ﷺ said about Ali? He said Ali is the door to knowledge. Right? He's the door to knowledge. And the Prophet ﷺ is the city. A lot of knowledge goes through Ali. That's how important Ali is in Islam. And Ali was a young boy like y'all sitting here. So, we could Fortnite it up, but there's a time for ibadah and learning and worship. You're gonna mold and develop your character. If you don't take and undertake knowledge and start doing it now. Don't talk about when I get old, I'm gonna do this, and when I get old, I'm gonna do that. Do it now, right? And it makes you a better adult. All right, and us adults, we gotta push them in that direction. So anyway, Babu fi ilahiyat. All right, Babu fi ilahiyat. Wa yajibu ala kulli mukallafin. All right. So listen to me closely. I'm just going to explain to you. Where yajibu, what's obligatory? Ala mukallafin. What's obligatory upon? Y'all know the word mukallaf, right? What does that translate to mean?
Adult.
An adult or a responsible person, right? So what is obligatory upon the adult or the responsible person? أن يعلم أن يعلم أن الله موجود. Okay? So what's obligatory or mandatory up on the legally responsible person to know? يعلم. أن يعلم. Right? That's what that means. To know. أن الله موجود. That Allah Ta'ala exists. Alright? You have to know this. If someone was to ask you, do Allah Ta'ala exist? You have to be able to answer in the affirmative. Yes. Nah. Absolutely. Not no, I think so. That's what my mom told me. That's what Abi said. That's what the Imam said. No, you have to know that with firmness. You can't shake and waver on that. Alright? أَنَّ يَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَوْجُودٌ. Okay? Now, listen to my words. What did we say that the word dalil was? Proof, right? And what type of dalil? We said there's two types of dalil. What's the two types of dalil? Naql and akl. Good. Y'all all getting that Imam Bukhari award. You know what I'm saying? I might make a little plaque for y'all, a little junk for y'all or something, right? Anyway, so what dalil and its proofs, and the proof wujudihi wujudu makhluqat, right? The proof of his existence. Who's his existence you talking about? Allah, right? And the proof of his existence is wujudu makhluqat, the existence of created things. So if someone was to ask you, how do you know that Allah exists? You know the proper reply you could say? What could you say? Huh? Right. You exist. I'm looking at you right now. Very simple, right? So if they say, now check this out. Now here I'm teaching you a little bit how to debate. I'm teaching you how to debate a little bit. Pay attention. I'm dropping bars on you right now. So he say, well, yeah, I exist because my mama carried me for 9 months. Isn't she created? Aha, got him. Right? He said, well, my father, got my mother pregnant, and that's how I got in her belly. Isn't your daddy created? Aha! See? Then all you got to do now is just flip it back on him. Well, who created your father? Huh? Well, my grandmother. Well, who created your grandma? And it just keep going and keep going. This is how the whole thing, you guys probably really don't know much about it, but that's where the, what's the boy name? The Darwin theory come from. That's how you eliminate that. The problem is with the Darwin theory, his whole beginning, how he believes, how he tries to explain how creation began. He said that some molecules and gases came together.
That's the
Big Bang theory. He's responsible for that.
Darwin is evolution.
Evolution, right. Now, Shukran. Right. So, but the thing is, this concept, things just came together and everything just started working.
Boom.
No, we know that Allah Ta'ala done this, right? Even in looking at the Quran is full of science. Allah talks about how to the sun it moves Maghrib Bayan, how it moves between the east and the west. That's science, right? The kuffar, how they tell you about the sun's rotation in the planet and stuff like that. Matter of fact, in some cases, you have to embrace the theory about the world being round in order to know that in order to believe that the sun rotates, right? But as a Muslim, we believe it because Allah tells us about it. Who would know better about the sun and the moon rotating better than the one who created it? Right? You see that? Teaching y'all, I'm dropping bars on y'all. Y'all, I'm telling y'all gonna be smart. Y'all gonna be smart boys, right? Right, son? Yeah. Anyway, so you have to have the ability to articulate what you believe. And if you don't know what you believe, then you won't be able to establish an intellectual or rational proof because you don't know what you believe. You don't ponder on your thoughts, right? So the next part, he says, وَأَنَّهُ تَعَالَى قَدِيم. That Allah Ta'ala is Qadim, right? Let me see, what's the best way? What do I got to translate it on the before time? Okay, so Allah Ta'ala existed before time, right? Now, you knock a whole lot of people out on this, all right? Let's go back.
Qadim meaning what?
Before time. Let's go back to the Big Bang Theory. Now they said that you became a human. People became human because the gases, right? Okay, so the gases, so they're trying to say that the gases are the creator.
Time ran out. It cut off.
Oh, it cut off.
Yeah,
All right, let me
done.
let me do it again. Let me do it again. Oh, sorry guys.
Something is before time.
Now. All right, can somebody be so pleasant to put in a group that it's the same number and start it back over? All right, now. So Qadim is before time. All right, it's before time, and the proof of before timeness. This is beautiful, but it's confusing confusing when you try to explain it in English, and this is why I dumb it down. And I even sometimes I read some children's books on Aqidah to see how and what they're explaining to children. Right, the best concept that I've seen about this is I'll tell you in a minute. You gotta tune in. Anyway, Qadim. وَدَلِيلُهُ قَدِيمِهِ, in the proof of his before timeness. لُزُومُ دَوْرِ وَتَسَلْسِلَهُ فِي تَقْدِيرِ حُدُوثِهِ وَهُمَا مَحَالًا. All right. Now, there's a few words we're going to talk about in here. All right. This one word I want to explain to you is the word haduth, right? Haduth. Haduth is everything that exists, like it's created, okay? Now, usually what happens is the mind, while some people have a hard time grasping this understanding, is the mind is having a hard time. When you think of created things, tell me some of the things you think that's created. Anything that comes to your mind that's created, tell me. Humans, all right. What else? Earth. What else? Animals. What else? Trees. What else? Vegetation. What else? Food. What else? Anything else? Electricity. All right. Huh? I'm listening. Don't get shy because I looked at you. Go ahead, tell me. Solids. All right, cool. You talking some science stuff. Solid matters, gases and stuff. All right, cool. All right, you gonna be a scientist, ain't you? No, got my eye on you. Huh?
He said solid.
Oh, salad.
Yeah.
I thought man was on his own, old Dexter stuff. Salad, yeah, salad. Yep. Yeah, you're a healthy eater though. That's good. That's still a good thing. You can probably be the next Dr. Sebi.
So you heard that right. You heard solid.
I heard solid, yeah. But anyway, I noticed nobody's said anything about time. Time is created. Time is created. Time, you know what's so amazing about time? Time doesn't stop for you. It's under Allah's control. Movement. I ain't hear nobody say nothing about movement. Up, down, left, right.
Vision.
You know, huh?
Vision.
Vision. That's also created. But these two things I want to emphasize on purposely. That was the point of me asking that, because when you say created things, most Muslims talk about everything except time, right? Movement, old, young, right? Because in order for you to be old, in order for you to get old, you have to exist, right? In order to be young, you still have to exist. Correct? None of this applies to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that's the case, then you'll start keeping years. Right? You're talking about the beginning of time. When was the beginning of time? When Allah created it. That's the beginning of time. What our minds and what our reality, what we're taught to perceive is dinosaurs, right? When you start talking about ancient years, you start talking about dinosaurs, right? Some people make the joke of like, oh man, we ain't talking about the Bible's times, right? This is what people make reference to, right? But these things are all part of creation. Time is part of creation. Allah is separate of time and place. He's not connected to time and place and movement. This is why I said that, you know, when you talk about the last third of the night, we don't believe Allah comes into heaven on the last third of the night, right? Because first of all, one of the first things about this is this: Allah Himself, right? One of the problems is when it's nighttime in Philly, guess what it is in China? Daytime, right? So if you believe that Allah is constantly in His creation, then he's never separate from His creation. He's just always part of creation. He's always on the last third of heaven. China, Saudi, they 8 hours ahead. They sleep over there, where He's awake over here. No, all this is kufr, right? So haduthi, right, is also known by another word, and you say it in the Fatiha every day. The first ayat in the Fatiha, the last part of ayat, last of the Fatiha. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alameen. That's for the word alam, right? Which is creation. Everything in existence, right? So, you know, if you want to be a weirdo and argue about, when your feet, you want to be a weirdo and argue about aliens, well, I mean, Rabbul Alameen, Allah's the Lord of aliens too, right? Because weirdos would be like, well, there's other life forms out on other planets. Look, my man, Allah's the creator of everything. I don't care what it look like, what you say it is, what you perceive it to be. That one ayah, that first ayah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, right? Allah Ta'ala is the Lord of all that exists, right? Okay, so anyway, so we'll proceed on. All right, so وَدَلِيلُهُ قَدِيمِهِ, and the proof of his existence is لُزُومُ دَوْرًا, right? And I translated it as, this is my translation: the proof of his existence before time is the need for periodic alternations, right? Dawra. Things are alternating, right? Yo, y'all gotta turn face this way. The periodic things are alternating. Alternation, right? What comes after day? Night, right? And what comes after night? Morning, day, whichever one. But the thing is, it's set and it alternates, right? What comes after fall? No. Yeah, I need some help. Right? After fall comes winter. What comes after winter? Spring. What comes after spring? Summer. Right? Has it ever changed?
No.
That's why when it snows outside of the time that it's supposed to snow, everybody goes in an uproar because things are fixated. Well, who you think fixed them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not Al Roker, right? It was Allah ta'ala who did it, right? So this is where this comes from. This is where this concept comes from, all right? This is easy Tawheed 101. This is where this concept comes from. So That's just that, that's what all that means in the Arabic. So it says it needs the alternation of the that in the orbit, the dawra, right? وَتَسَلْسَلَ فِي تَقْدِيرِ حُدُوثِهِ, and the sequence in the arranging of its incidental occurrences, right? And we just talked about that. Incidental occurrence, a time of occurrence, a thing that occurs, it snows in the spring. Right? It's an incident. It's something, it's in Allah Ta'ala's control, but it's not part of his everyday rotation, right? This is just that simple. But some people don't look at life that way. And when you're studying biology and ecology and all those things, they give you some other definition of what they put together. I'm talking about when you're studying non-Muslim sciences. They put that together. But as a Muslim, we know the reality. Everything is centered around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in it, he says these two are part of end time creation, mahalin, right?
What are the two things that are a part of?
Dawra and tasalsul fi taqdeer. I'm gonna highlight it. If you're looking at what you call it, right? I'm gonna highlight the two things. This one, number one. I wasn't supposed to do that. This number one, right? And then you got number two. And both of these are part of end time creation.
Let me see. All right, there it is.
So this is why, as Muslims, we don't say that Allah is on the heaven or sitting on the throne, right? Sitting is what? For y'all the English masters. Sitting is a what? What kind of word is sitting? A verb, right? What kind of verb?
Action.
No, that's what verb is. Action. What tense?
Ever.
Present tense. Present tense, right? And you want to say that, okay? That action is part of end time creation, right? If you wanted to say Allah sat on the throne, sat is what? Past tense. It's a verb, right? Still part of end time creation. So whatever the case is, how does that apply? That applies as part of the tasalsula, right? Some of these occurrences, it happens, right? You change your movement up, down, left, right. That's why I mentioned those things, right? Remember when I asked you, when you think of creation, what do you think of? The last thing we ever think about is time and movement, right? There's another science that the kuffar study. It's called physics, and they start discussing those type of things, but they don't relate it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, that's when they start discussing those type of things. But you see, it's all connected to creation. So when it comes to those things, we don't, and even if it uses a word that can imply that meaning, we don't attribute that to Allah ta'ala. Right? We don't attribute that as saying that Allah did this movement or did that movement, because we understand right from the rip that movement is part of end time creation. End time creation. All right? Y'all understood that? What's the meaning of aql?
Rational.
Rational proofs. What's the meaning of aql? Naql. What are the two signs of that of a woman being mukallaf? Men's and pregnancy. What's another sign of mukallaf? That he got to be a person of what? Sound mind. What's the signs of a male being mukallaf? Ejaculation, facial hair. What else?
Pubic hairs.
Okay. And if all that's absent from both parties, and then what? 18 lunar years old. All right. Cool. So it's obligatory for every mukallaf person to know. What about Allah? What's the first thing you're supposed to know about Allah? That he what? He exists. Mawjood. Right. And what's the second thing that we learn? What's the proof that Allah exists? Proof of creation. It exists as a creation. The second thing, that Allah Ta'ala is he before time or after time? Before time. Now, this also refutes many people's claim. You know what what do the Christians believe? Bro, sit still. Come on. What do the Christians believe? What do they believe about Jesus?
Jesus, and he is the God and Son of God, and he's the Son of God.
Okay, now here we go. This is where we're gonna have a problem at. If you believe he is God, then that means
Allah existed.
that he is Allah. He exists, right? Okay. They also believe that they killed Jesus on a cross. That's why they wear a cross. How is that so?
If he's a god, right?
Who's Jesus' mother?
Mary.
Drop the microphone. Their problem is when you ask who's Jesus' father. What do they say when they say who's Jesus' father? What do they say?
God.
Gosh, how do you get this? You say he's God, you say he's the son of God, then you say God is his father. But God never met Mary. We got a problem here, right? What does Allah teach us about this? That he created Isa. He created Isa and stuffed him in the womb without a man. Ain't that a miracle? Is any of you guys born without a father? I know black people say that they ain't got no daddy, but that's not true. Everybody got a daddy. Everybody be except Isa, right? So, how do you get to this point, right? Allah said this is a sign that Allah can still create. Now, Adam, didn't Allah create Adam without a mother and a father? And then he created Isa with a mom? So that's going to show you that your power is limited, that you have to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a sign for creation to see. You see? So before time, meaning that Allah ta'ala existed before up, down, round, back and forth, night and day. You see that? That's why Allah is al-Qadim. He's before time. That's what that means, before time, right? There's no claim. And when I'm using this word God, I'm actually using it loosely. There is no claim on earth of any of the existing gods. I don't care if it's Buddha, Zuda, whoever, that existed before time. They all have a start date. All of them have a start date. And so when you're saying that Allah is Qadim, he's before time, you're also saying he has no beginning. If you believe that Jesus was God, but his mother is Mary, when did he begin to exist? After he was born. So we already know that the Christian belief is flawed. This is what I'm saying. It's flawed. You have to understand that. Understand that because you all interact with Christians and you got some kids that actually know the Bible a little bit, smash them with this proof every time you get a chance. They say, oh, Jesus, no, Jesus can't help you. Smash them. I'm telling you, they'll thank you later. So we'll stop there. No, matter of fact, let me do Bakin. All right? Which is the last part we're going to do. وَأَنَّهُ تَعَالَى بَاقٍ. Okay, that Allah Ta'ala is existent, ongoing after time. Okay, so what does that mean, ongoing after time? Allah doesn't end. There's no death. Right? Allah doesn't end. All of us have a birthday, right? Everybody in here know their birthday? At least unless you were before calendars and you were born at wars and stuff like that. Like, I was born at 9/11. I was born a year of 9/11. You don't know how old you are. You just keep counting how much time has passed since 9/11, right? That's how they used to do back in the day for the organized calendars.
Right.
But everybody here has a birthday, right? Everybody here knows somebody that's dead that they once met in their life. Right? Everybody. Me, my grandmother, that's an example. My grandmother lived, I think I knew my grandmother for probably about 32 years of my life. And then she died. Right? My children, they know me. My oldest son, know me 23 years, ain't counting. And you are, 14? So you know me 14 years. How old are you? 10 years. 11 years. Right? So everybody knows, right, that my children, they know me for that length of time. When I die, that's what they're going to say. If I was to die today, that's the last time y'all seen me. Like, man, I spent 14 years with my father, blase, blase, blah, right? You die, that's it. Okay? Very simple concept. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no ending. Because he's not, first of all, he's not part of time, in time creation. Expiration, when you expire, as part of creation, as part of end time creation, right? One of the weirdest things, if anybody ever run into the Nation of Islam, they have the craziest belief too. First of all, they believe that Fard Muhammad is their Allah. That's you know the guys with the bow ties and the bald faces, right? Those guys, they'd be like, bean pie, my brother, bean pie, assalamu alaikum, right?
352 for 5.
Don't be fooled by them guys, right? However, they believe that they say that Allah created himself in triple darkness. All right, you know what the problem is with this?
Where triple darkness come from?
Okay, Allah created himself. Problem.
How can you create yourself?
Problem. We, the Muslims, believe that Allah always existed, right? Allah was, that's it, khalas. That's how it always, that's how it be, right? That is what makes Allah Ta'ala so unique and worthy of our worship and praise. We your feet in the circle, brother. You're breaking the circle rule. Anyway, so, this is what we believe. They believe that Allah created himself. All right, problem number one. Problem number two, darkness. What is darkness? Is that a description of time? Right? Remember we talked about Dawra, what's a salsala, right? That orbital alternation, right? The Dawra, right? So that Dawra, dark, light, day, night, right? So every group, I promise you this, even you study comparative religion when you get older, all of their origins, they had a beginning and they had an ending. Buddha, people prayed to this fat guy at the statue. He wasn't even fat either. You'll find out later on. He was actually skinny. But they prayed to this big fat guy, right? This big fat guy. And he's gone. He's dead. He's not even here. Right? Which we'll get into later when we start talking about Allah Ta'ala being Al-Hayyu, Allah being living, right? We don't worship a dead God. You don't worship a dead, they worship idols, dead idols. All of their gods are dead. All of them. It's death upon them. The NOI, they be like, yeah, I pray to Almighty Allah. You ask them, who you mean by Allah? Fard Muhammad, Master Fard Muhammad. He's dead. He's gone. What is he doing for you? He brought me the light to the northern wilderness of North America in 1922. But know your belief. Know your belief. Have a sound belief. So you learn 3 things about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today, right? That's mandatory for you to know. Okay? Now, what I've been doing is, what I'm encouraging is everybody to try to memorize this text, right? In the Google Classrooms, I put the text, the Arabic for those who read Arabic, and the translation, what you're reading on, on Zoom. I translate that myself. And I'm trying to encourage people. I don't care if you memorize in English, right? For you guys, I got a special class for y'all. But I'm glad y'all here. And I hope y'all finish the book with me too. Because I'll be proud to give y'all ijazah. But I got a special class for y'all. Y'all just don't know. I ain't give it to you yet. I'm still working on it. I'm tweaking it. I was working on it yesterday and the day before. It's a text by Sheikh Uthman al-Fodio. It's on Aqidah. It's a very small book. I want y'all to memorize that. It's very important. You know why you want to memorize it? You don't have to be like, yo, let me find my book. Let me switch to page 55. Us old folks, we always got to turn to page 56 and, hold on, let me get my notes. Can't answer questions. You be like, yo, what's this? They be like, what? Hold up. I think I got my notes here. Y'all need to know it right from memory. Y'all need to be like the Sahabas. Right? That's my intent for y'all. Make y'all like the Sahabas. Y'all gonna be better than us, inshallah. Alright? And you can still play your Fortnite. So inshallah, we'll stop there for this class. And I'm gonna type the notes up for those who couldn't necessarily catch them. So inshallah. Everything was clear. Is there anything you need clarity on?
stop.
Did you
Put your
give-
feet on.
Yo, cut it out, y'all too. Mm-hmm.
Could you give the proof that y'all live for the Balkan?
Bakken.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I didn't mention that, did I? Oh. Y'all almost had me for a second there. All right, guys, back to focusing. Sit back up. All right, al-Bakin, wa daliluhu, wa dalil, al-baqa'ihi, and the proof of his existence after time. Thubutu qadimihi. Very simple, right? The proof of his existence is continuity, right? Meaning it's continuous. It doesn't end, right? Like I mentioned to you, the Christians claim that Jesus died on a cross, right? That would end his continuity. It would be ending. He's not God. Buddha is no longer with us, right? They worship Buddha in his memory, but he's no longer with us. You see? So ongoing after time. So the proof of that Allah Ta'ala is Bakin is the continuity after time, his pre-existence before time. So the fact that Allah is Qadim, right, is a clear sign that he's Bakin as well. He existed before time, and so time won't take him over, and he will continue to exist after the cease of time. All right, y'all understand that? And there's a period in life where time won't exist. You know when that time is? On the day of judgment, when that trumpet is blown, right? No, not death in itself. When the trumpet is blown, because even in death, time is still moving.
Right.
You're in the grave. You ain't chilling in the grave. Some people getting smashed in the grave, getting their head beat up, you know, all that. Some people are laying in the grave looking at their spot for paradise. And we'll talk about this later on in this class. All right? So, you know, in paradise and hellfire already exist, right? And it never ceased to exist. That's one of creation that doesn't come to an end. Paradise, hellfire, they never cease to exist, right? So you have to understand these things. Man, it's Maghrib already?
Maghrib.
SubhanAllah. All right, so there we'll stop there, inshallah. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I'm in the class now, inshallah.